So, up to yesterday, we have seen everything about the architecture, how instructions get executed within a machine, and eventually the fact that whatever program you write, except that is not an interpreted program like Python or Java. Java is first compiled, then eventually that gets interpreted, but I'm not going into the details. Until unless that's some interpreted program, if it is a compiled program, that means that gets compiled to a sequence of assembly instructions. In that scenario, eventually every program is a sequence of assembly instructions. And we have seen step by step how various types of assembly instructions, uh, only the basic ones, not obviously I have not went to the details of jump instructions and so on, but how such instructions get executed into the computer architecture. That means on the hardware of your machine. Now, once we have covered this hardware part, now we are one step above. Discussion is going to start from this operating system, right? That controls the hardware that we have seen till now. Now, we have also seen the basic functionality. In fact, the overall functionality of the OS can be eventually grouped into these four parts: process management, memory management, files and IO management, and eventually the computer security. And we will discuss these three today and tomorrow in these 2 days. Firstly, let me discuss about the memory management part rather than the process management. Memory management will be easier to understand first. Till now, memory management means that OS, first of all, OS brings applications to RAM from hard disk. Okay. Secondly, now how does it bring an application? Because if we can, if we look into our own machine, that today's systems are multiprocessors, multiprocessing in fact. That means at the same time we can execute multiple programs together. As an example, here I have opened the OneNote. Maybe at the same time I can open up some editors, a text maker, right? And at the same time, maybe I can open up my file manager. Now, it is not only limited to 3 programs or something like that. You can open up as much programs as possible as long as your RAM supports it. So we say that as long as our RAM supports it, not our processor support it, eventually those programs will be executed by the processor. Now you may think that today's processors are multi-core, and obviously, though today's processors are multi-core, eventually, maybe suppose I am using a very high-end, say Ryzen 7 or i7 machine or i9 machine, maybe with 16 cores and 32 threads. But is it that does that limit the fact that you can open only 32 applications at a time, each application running in each thread parallelly? No, not like that. Even though it is 32 threads on your machine, you can still open up hundreds of applications. In fact, at one time, there are multitudes of system processes running within the system. To see the list of system processes that is running at a particular moment on Linux system, we use ps-ef. Right? And you can see that is the list of all processes that is running within the system. And that is not limited to only 32. This is huge. In fact, the number of processes owned by me itself is more than 32. Even though I have opened 3 applications, but I have logged in. That started some application I'm working on a laptop. So Power Manager is doing it, has having its own processes.
Sir,
हाँ बोलो.
sir, where did you type this, sir? In command prompt?
In the terminal, you will find this on Linux system, not Windows.
Achha.
Okay.
In Windows, what we have to type, sir?
Truth to be told, I'll check that out and let you know, because
Okay,
I
sir.
am not much interested in
Okay,
Windows
no
system, but
problem.
still I'll let you know. Because Linux is always the flagship of operating systems.
Sir, in Task Manager, the processes will show in Services tab.
Yes. In the Windows as well, because I have used Windows long time ago last, and since then Linux is my daily driver. So as your friend has said, you can look into your Task Manager, okay, and the processes that is running on your system.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so as you can see that even owned by me, there are multitudes of processes running on the system. Right? Even one process like Teams has spawned several sub processes. In fact, it is called child process in the operating system terminology. But I'm not going into the details. But as you can see, multitudes of processes are open, and that's obviously more than 32. And this machine is not i7 or Ryzen 7 machine. So they're still running. So obviously it is not limited by them, right? So it is number of processes are not limited by them. In fact, this should be is, because number is singular, is not limited by that. So what OS needs to do? OS finds a free space in the RAM. Okay, because at the same time multiple processes are running, right? So if you look into the RAM, it's not a single process that is running. Maybe here some process is running. This is say another, say P1 process. Maybe this is another process P2 is running, and so on and on. And maybe these are the filled up space. Maybe this is the filled up space, and so on. Maybe this space that is free. This is the free space. OS keeps a track of all free spaces in RAM. Okay, and whenever you would like to execute certain application, it will find that free space and load that application in the RAM. But the question is, this is just a hypothetical view. Originally, OS does not keep track of continuous free spaces. I'll come to that point. The fact is, And related to this question, these two questions are related. Think about it. Does OS bring complete application? At the first step? The answer is no, it cannot. Let me tell you a practical example. Several days ago, when I was analyzing the memory requirements of several programs, I found some of the today's games. I cannot remember the names, but some of the games requiring memory requirements of some 8 GB, something like that. But your if your RAM amount is say 16 GB or even 8 GB itself, obviously your OS will not be able to load that complete game in your RAM. Moreover, another thing, if OS would try to load, if OS would try to load some app with huge memory requirement, say 8 GB, uh, if if the OS would try to bring that complete application in one sweep, after double clicking on that particular application or game, you would have to wait for several long times as long as your OS is not copying all that 8 GBs of all that complete games on your machine into the RAM. And the fact is, you would not see that particular application opening up instantly or maybe within a minute. Rather, you'd see that maybe getting opened after maybe 5 minutes or more, because it would have to copy that complete 8 GB or that complete size of that game or that application on the hard disk completely to the RAM, right? So that's not a practical solution, and that's not happen. Let me give you another example. Suppose if you try to open up some movie, okay, do you think that the VLC media player, maybe, or whatever media player you're using, that is copying that complete file into RAM? The answer is no. You would not be able to see that movie is getting started immediately, because you would have to wait until and unless your application, in fact, application makes a request to OS, OS brings that complete file into the RAM, right? And that's not a very small time. So obviously, OS does not bring a complete app or file in one swipe. So how does it do that? That's what we're going to look into now. Though we'll look into very briefly here, very details of all these concepts you'll see in operating system course, those who are in CS and IT. The fact is, on the hard disk, apps are divided into multiple frames. Say of size 4 KB. This is one of the most common frame size used in operating systems. though frames of 2 kbs, even 2 mbs or 16 kbs are also found, but 4 kb is the most commonly used. That means 4096 bytes. So suppose our application is of size, say 4 GB. Maybe that can be some file or can be some huge application. So there are 1024 frames for that file, because 4 GB by 4 KB is 1024. So on the hard disk, suppose, in fact, that application on your hard disk, just 1 second, wait for a second. Let me. So saying that, so maybe even these 1024 frames, it is not necessary that they are staying in the hard disk contiguously. So maybe some. Hello, any of you are asking something?
सर ये 1024 से ज़्यादा होगा ना? 1024 में तो सिर्फ MB तक ही आएगा.
Yes, thank you. I made
Sir,
the mistake.
into
Specify हो गया.
1024.
Yes, 1024 to 1024, because that I have written GB. Yes, thank you. So this many number of frames will be in the hard disk. So maybe here is one frame, maybe there is another frame, and so on. And your files, though you are seeing it as one simple file, one single file on your system, when you open it, you maybe you're opening a PDF file, you're scrolling through it, it seems that it is a one single file on your disk, but no, it's broken throughout on your hard disk. And in fact, I'll discuss about this when I'll discuss about the disk management. I'll discuss about the sectors and so on there. So for now, so maybe this is F1, this is F2, and so on. Maybe this is the corresponding F 1024 into 1024, the last frame. Suppose the memory is also now this is not physically, also logically divided into same size of pages. Now for the hard disk it is called frames, for memory it is called page. That means on your RAM you can consider something like that. It is the complete RAM is divided into hypothetical, logical. Obviously RAM is not divided practically into 4 KB partitions, rather it is logically divided into 4 KB page sizes by the operating system itself, right? So what happens is that when we open an application, now see, another thing, if you, I think all of you have understood this concept by now. All application has a starting instruction, right? As for example, if you write a program, the int main, in fact, the main function is your starting instruction. Right. So now, when you open an application, so obviously we'll consider that the F1 contains the starting instruction from this point, and all the instructions, all the how many instructions will be there? Say instruction count, considering that we are not considering the data for now. Okay, instruction count, say 4096. Each instruction is of 8 bytes, so 512, right? So may say the first 512 instructions are in F1, second 512, second set of 512 instructions are in F2, and so on in each frame. Though again, this is hypothetical because we have considered not considering data. Though there are several separate data segments and so on, but I'm not going into that details for now. Now, when we open up an application, what happens is that the frame containing the first instruction comes to RAM, comes to a page in RAM. And this is done by the OS. In fact, OS keeps track of the free pages in RAM. Okay, and remember, every page has its starting address. As for example, the starting address of this page is 0. The starting address of this page is the hexadecimal of 4096. Right? Let me write in decimal for now. This is in decimal. If I'm not adding 0x, that means it is in decimal. Now, the address of this will be 8192, and so on. So you can convert them obviously in the corresponding hexadecimal. I'm not going into the details. That means you can do that easily yourself. Now, so every page has an address. In fact, this address is the first byte in that page. Okay. Now, what happens is that suppose this F1, suppose all these pages are filled up. Say all these pages are filled up by other applications. Generally, in these lower pages, operating system itself remain. That means the kernel itself remain. Suppose this is a free page. This is a free page. So F1 comes here. Now operating systems have said,
Sir,
operating system, bolo.
Sir, what will fill, sir, in the initial few pages?
In these initial few pages, at the lowest most pages, your bootloader remains. Okay.
What, sir?
Bootloader. That means that boots your operating system. Okay, that's called a bootloader. I'm not going into the details. You'll know about all these things in detail in operating system course. What is a bootloader?
Okay.
Your bootloader remains here at the lower few pages, and then for the next few pages, it is the OS itself remains.
Oh. That means actually, if our RAM is 8 GB, it is actually lower than that much.
Yes, because Many of these places, the lower places have already been taken by the OS itself. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Now, every page has its own edges. Now, suppose this F1 operating system has found a, a free page here. So it loads the F1, and whenever OS loads into a free page, it removes it from its free page list. That means the list in which the OS was keeping all the informations of free pages, it removes that list because that has been occupied by some particular program. Now, what happens? So only the starting instruction, only this part comes. What about the rest of the parts? Remember that when you will write a huge application. Now, why do we write huge applications? Does it mean that all the parts of that application is running always? The answer is no. One particular instruction, the starting instruction, starts up the GUI, starts up the game, starts up the corresponding application. Then, depending upon what functions are users doing, particular functions are invoked in that application. So maybe after opening up OneNote, I click on edit, then I click on this. So in this OneNote application, maybe some function has been written that what will happen if user clicks on this button. And currently in the RAM, that part is executing. If I click on this eraser button, another function will be invoked. That will give another functionality, maybe removing this. Right? So again, if I click on this one, the particular functionality will be restored. That means the previous function will be invoked. So not all parts. हाँ बोलो.
सर पहले आपने इरेजर पे क्लिक किया तो वो फंक्शन रैम में इनपुट हुआ.
हाँ.
फिर आपने वापस मार्कर पे किया तो मार्कर वाला फंक्शन इनपुट हुआ. फिर अगर आप वापस इरेजर पे क्लिक करते हो तो वापस दोबारा फंक्शन इनपुट होगा या पहले वाला काम कर जाएगा?
जो पहला वाला है अगर वो रैम पे तब तक रह गया तो वो काम करेगा. Now we may think that why it will be removed from RAM. The fact is that I'll tell you. Just wait for a second. Just wait for a moment. I'll tell you step by step, and then at the end tell me whether your question is answered or not. Okay. See, not all parts of an application is necessary at a particular moment. Okay. Now, suppose F1 is the starting instruction. Now, this function, after loading the GUI, user has done something. For that, maybe that F1 needs that some say F34, 34th frame. The function which it requires is defined in 34th frame. What it will do? Okay, say instruction in F1 invokes some instruction in F34. OS will find another page in RAM and will load that. Okay, so this fact that it is dynamically loading up the corresponding contents, this fact is called demand paging. Though the concept of virtual memory comes in this concept, but I'm not going into that details. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Now, what will happen? What will happen if there is no free page? So will that application stop? Will that application will go out? No. OS has all the list. OS is keeping track of everything. Which application is executing, which application's page is not required at this moment, and so on. OS removes some frame, maybe from other applications as well. Rather than maybe, if necessary, rather than it is if necessary, from other applications as well. Some frame which is not currently in use. So suppose this is one frame of say one node. Okay. Now suppose that the frame just above is some Firefox frame, the browser Firefox frame, Firefox first frame. Okay. Now maybe there are several more frames above. Maybe the F34 of OneNote has been loaded here. Now there is no free page. Now suppose I switch to maybe Firefox and opens up some new tab or anything. I'm doing some functionality on the Firefox for which the Firefox application tells OS that the operation that user is trying to do is my this number of frame, is in my this number of frame. Bring that. OS tries to bring that, but observes that there is no frame free, there is no page free in the RAM. What it will do? It will now see. OS always is observing OneNote, the first frame has been used a much long time ago. That is not being required at this moment. Okay. What OneNote will do is that what OS will do is that it will remove this page of OneNote and will load that page of Firefox and will continue. Now maybe I have opened up the OneNote and I am again using that functionality. That's what you are saying, that's what I'm saying. Suppose I'm clicking on the eraser. Now the eraser functionality is happening. That is suppose in some different frame than the functionality of pencil. Okay. Now if I click on the eraser, as that is in some defined frame, that will be brought and that will do the function. Maybe some frames of other applications have been removed from the system for this to do this task. Now immediately the next time I click on this, okay, this part is still in RAM, so there was no delay. The OS simply switched to the frame that was containing this functionality. Now at this time, suppose I am switching to this my editor, and I'm suppose I'm opening up a new document to maybe writing something. Okay, writing the next writing something. As soon as I do this, obviously, maybe the TextMaker invoked some of its own frame, some functionality that is in some different frame. Now, when it will bring this, the OS has observed that the instruction at which point I am now. See, it has been in fact removed from the from all of them. I'll have to click on this again. Okay, so whenever I'll click this, then this frame has been brought into the RAM again, because maybe there was no location in RAM for this one, and it removed some of the frames which I have used much ago. They have removed them. Maybe they were from some other applications, maybe from OneNote itself. They have removed them and has brought what is in front of the user now. Okay, so that user can work on it now. Now when I switch back and I'll click on some of this, maybe that corresponding TextMaker frame has went out. It may happen. It depends upon the size of the RAM you have. The higher the amount of RAM you have, the more frames. That means to bring up new frames, it will not have to remove previous frames, and you will see the smoothness of execution in all applications together. Is the concept clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is what is happening.
सर
हाँ बोलो.
सर जब OS हार्ड ड्राइव से किसी फ्रेम को रैम में लाता है पेज फॉर्मेट में,
हाँ,
तब वो उसको हार्ड ड्राइव से हटा देता है क्या?
नहीं, हार्ड ड्राइव में रहता है, हार्ड डिस्क से कुछ नहीं हटता है.
ओके सर.
Okay, now what happens is that maybe suppose I am writing something here. Okay, now if I save this, now it will show me some location to save it. Now when I'll save it, then this will be written to the hard disk. Otherwise it is still in RAM, as long as I'm not saving some particular document or something. Okay, otherwise the contents in hard disk is not changing, it is always there. So any query regarding the discussion that I have made here? Any query regarding this concept of memory management of this? This is called paging. Okay, and this fact that it loads the pages when that particular page is required, only then the particular page is loaded. That is the concept of demand paging, and this is the concept of, in fact, virtual memory. Why it is the concept of virtual memory? Because some actively running applications page is going to the hard disk back, and maybe it is coming back to the it is coming back to the RAM again, and user is not being able to understand that. User is thinking that all the applications are running parallelly, but in between some of the pages are being removed from the RAM. Where it will go? It will go back to the hard disk, right? Some of the pages are being removed. In fact, on the hard disk, for each, I'm just telling it in briefly. Okay, I do not want to go into its detail for now, because you will get confused. On the hard disk, OS keeps a separate space for virtual memory. Okay, whatever page it is removing, the RAM is removing, it is going to that particular space, and when it is coming back, it is coming from that virtual memory space. So user is thinking that user is not being able to understand the limitation of his or her own RAM, and it is the concept of virtual memory is in fact creating a continuous space of huge amount of RAM. Is it clear? So that's what is happening within the system. But yes, what is, if OS would not do the virtual memory, some of the applications would simply not start if there were no space in the RAM. Some applications would simply not start. But applications still start even though your RAM has been filled up. Even though you have very small amount of RAM, the application will start. Yes, that will stutter. That will become extremely slow because continuously it is switching between hard disk and RAM, and accessing hard disk is slow, right? So you'll see that application is stuttering, the application is hanging and so on. But at least that will not happen, that application is not starting. If necessary, it will remove some frame from other application to the virtual memory space and will make a and will free a frame for the new application coming. The application will start. Okay. So you can see the applications hanging and stuttering and so on, but it will never stop. No application will die in between, or applications will always start whenever you start it. Is it clear whatever I said? Much details of this you will find it in the operating system course. Any query regarding the discussion that I have made till now? Any query till now? Okay, so let me just close it. Now, after the memory management comes the concept of process management. I'll discuss this briefly now. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Today's 5 to 6 class will not be there, but tomorrow's class from 11:15 to 1:15 or maybe even later will be there.
Excuse me, sir.
Bolo.
Sir, at 11:30 we are having a quiz, sir, for 15 minutes.
Okay, 11:30, na? Okay, then we'll start from
12.
Start at 12. So would you like to do the class from 12 to 2?
No, sir, ask everyone.
Yes,
No,
that's
sir.
what that's what I'm asking. Or maybe we can start from 2 to 4. Just take a vote, everyone, and let me know within tonight whether it will be from 12 to 2 or 2 to 4. Okay.
Sir, 1 to 3 may be better because at 4 again an extra class is there.
Okay. At 3 again you have another extra class.
At 4.
Okay, at 4. Then I think tomorrow is your busy day, quite. So can you take that class on Sunday, 18th?
No, sir. No, Sunday.
Okay. And
No,
I
sir,
think
no.
you have vacation. There is a holiday on 21st, right?
Why, sir?
So
No idea, sir.
yes, there is a holiday on 21st of July, as far as I
Well,
can see
sir.
here. This is, I think, Eid al-Juha. Okay, so take votes among yourself, but arrange a class for 2 hours. Discuss among yourselves whatever time you will tell me, except Monday 11 to 12, Tuesday
सर आज 4 to 5 पे आप आज 4 to 5 ले सकते हैं सर अगर
आज
आपका
5 to 6 का
टाइम
क्लास
नहीं है
लेना
तो
मेरे लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, or we can do one thing, we can do another thing. Let's keep this class for now. Okay, cancel this extra class for now. If towards the end of this course, if we find that there is still some syllabus left, then we will arrange some extra class. We can do that as well. Let me know and I'll arrange the class accordingly, or if possible, and if you think that you are not being able to find the class within this week or something, then we can arrange the class towards the end of this course as well, as an extra class. Okay, discuss among yourselves and then let me know. Okay, now the process management. So what happens is that OS manages multiple processes at same time, right? In fact, multiple processes together. How does it do that? The fact is, OS keeps what will we say? In fact, it's a structure. Okay, but because operating systems are written in C language, the one you are going to study now, OS keeps a list of information in fact, let me write structure here. When you will study about the structure in C, okay, you will able to understand this. In fact, within a structure, bolo.
Process means program, sir, or both are different?
Process means program, but there is a very subtle difference. Program is what you have on your machine, what you have on your hard disk when it is not executing. But as soon as operating system loads it into the memory, it starts executing. That is called it becomes active.
Then it becomes a process.
Then it becomes a process.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now about each process running in the system. Remember, OS keeps that information for only the executing process, not all the processes all the possible processes that your system may have, only the executing processes. And for each process, it is called PCB. It is called PCB, or that stands for process control block. What does PCB contain? It contains many information, like who has started the process, user who started the process, starting time, when it has started, current execution, current instruction that is executing. Okay, it also contains the page file. Page file means, in fact, sorry, there is not page file, that is called page table. Page table. Page table means for this process, for this particular process, which frame is in which page. That means this is the frame number and this is the page number. Whether that frame has already been loaded or not. Okay, this is loaded or not. Now suppose frame number F1, it is in page at address is 0x1234, so it has been loaded. Now suppose this is F2, page is any random value, so 0, and it is 0, it has still not been loaded. F3, page number is 0, but it has been loaded. That means it is currently taking some off into the virtual memory. It is currently not into the RAM. Okay, but it has already been loaded. OS has just removed it for some other applications task and so on. Okay, then files, the app has requested. and many more applications. Okay, many more. In fact, if you look into the PCB of a particular process, you will be able to tell everything about that particular process. Right. So everything remains in the PCB for a particular process. What is the time? 2:54. Then we'll do one thing. Rather than now starting the discussion what OS does with this PCB, that will also take a that will also take a quite long time. I'll keep my discussion up to this. In the next class, I'll tell you what happens with this process. Okay. Any confusion regarding today's discussion?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'll keep my discussion up to this. I'm stopping the sharing and then stopping the recording, and